Morning, everybody. It is our custom on Mondays to have chapel talks. After a little while into the school year, that will be mostly seniors up here, maybe 2 or 3 every Monday, giving their senior chapels. But for the first part of the year, while they're figuring out what they want to say and thinking about what they want to present, we usually have some faculty come up here and give chapel talks. So I'm going to start us off this week, and some of the new faculty will be going over the next few weeks. So you can spend a little bit of time getting to know them. I thought that my chapel talk, I would maybe think a little bit about who we are as a school. And one of the things we do really well as a school, as it turns out, is basketball. Our boys' basketball team is pretty good. Those of you who are new may have noticed that there are some very significantly tall people around. And they have been successful over the last few years. Our girls' basketball team last year was 18-5 and was excellent as well, and I'm expecting they're going to have a really good year this year as well. So I thought it's got me thinking a lot about basketball, and it's got me thinking about my basketball career, because I'm not for nothing. Played a little, hooped it up, balled. And my basketball career really has 4 stages, none of which are any good as, Coach Huss playing in college and all this other stuff, or Honor going off to Indiana or any of that. But I had 4 distinct stages of my basketball career. The first would be what we call CYO basketball, or Catholic Youth Organization basketball. And when I was young, I played in the CYO league, and this is sort of my 7 years old to kind of 10 or 11 years old years. And at that point, I was a pretty good basketball player, because although I'm not as tall as some of the gentlemen who walk around here, at 6'3", and at the time I was pretty tall for my age, I was pretty good, because when you're playing youth basketball, pretty much tall is all that matters. Okay? Ball goes up, rebound comes off, tallest guy gets it. That's all there is to it, okay? If I can jump at all, and I could jump a little, okay? If I could jump at all, I was going to get the ball. And if I have the ball a whole lot, no matter how many times I throw it up there, and it was a lot, eventually it's going to go in, okay? And so when the basketball scores are 10-6, and I'd have 8 of the points, feeling pretty good about myself. Then I went to high school. And in high school, I played for the Stony Brook School. Some of you know I went to the Stony Brook School. Mr. Lingle went there, and Mr. Spengler taught there, and we got all these connections to this school on Long Island outside of New York. And that's where I played basketball. I started on the middle school team and then the JV team, and I eventually made the varsity team as a sophomore and kind of worked my way up through there. And at the time, again, 6'3", and by that point I had reached, actually 6'3". I was the center on the team. Now, you might think to yourself, when you think center, because you're here, you think O. Okay, and I understand that, and O is 7 feet tall, and I'm not. Okay, so you can imagine that I had a little bit of difficulty playing center at 6'3", and that was absolutely the case. We were not a very good basketball team. We struggled. We played in the public school league locally. They crushed us. We basically lost a lot of games while I was there playing center. And I had no job other than rebound and kick it out to the shooter, rebound and kick it out to the shooter. They didn't want me shooting at all, okay? This was no longer the days where my 6'3" was tall. I was now short, and I was a short center. And it was not a good situation for our team for me to be a short center. And you think, well, why didn't they just move you to a different position? Because I couldn't do anything else, okay? I couldn't dribble. I couldn't really shoot that well. By the time I was 17 or 18 years old, I just really wasn't that good at basketball anymore. And I had to kind of live with that. Phase 3. I spent a postgraduate year in England. Now, did anybody watch the Olympic basketball? Anybody watch the Olympic basketball? Some people? Okay, good. Anybody get to see England play? They're not good at basketball, okay? They're just not good at basketball. It's okay. They're good at a lot of other things. They make good tea. That's good, okay? But they're not good at basketball. And so when I went to England, the fact that I could dribble with my left hand at all made me basically somewhat short of a god. My 1 year in England playing basketball, I averaged 37 points a game. I scored 58 in one game. It was great. I was like, I could live here forever. I'll just play basketball in England forever. And I will be happy. Phase 4. And there's a long gap between phase 3 and phase 4, okay? So England, 18, 19 years old, okay? Fast forward to 40. Okay? big gap in my basketball career, I come out of retirement to play in this silly thing called the bookstore basketball tournament. Some crazy teacher, I'm fairly sure, and I wouldn't normally say this, but I'm fairly sure, possibly intoxicated when he made this decision, okay, decided that we were going to play this tournament with faculty members playing with students, playing with, in the tournament. And so everybody's got to get a faculty member. So I went ahead and played. Our team did well. We lost our first game to Mr. Lingle. Still feeling for that, okay? But then we proceeded to win every other game from then on until the semifinals of the tournament. And in the semifinals, we were losing. We were going to lose. We were definitely going to lose, okay? The team we were playing, was it Makitis? Were you on that team? I don't remember. Anybody. They were better than us, okay? They were going to beat us, no doubt about it. But, we're trying to hang in there. I've got the ball at the top of the key. I catch the ball. I take one step, and my Achilles tendon explodes. I go down in a heap. Boom. Mr. Kennedy, the headmaster, is there. He looks at me and goes, "What's wrong?" I said, "I blew out my Achilles tendon." He said, "No, you didn't." I said, "Yes, I did." This would be the point, get me off the court, okay? So they shoved me off the court. Mr. Wall went in and played for us. Those of you know Mr. Wall from last year, he wasn't any good at basketball either, and they lost, and we didn't win the championship. I then spent, the better portion of months and months and months in a cast and going around on crutches, and let me assure you, this campus and crutches don't match, okay? Up and downstairs, up and downstairs, up and downstairs all day long. That is now officially the end of my basketball career. My doctor, who treated me for the Achilles, has made me promise that I will not play any more basketball, which is good because I wasn't any good at it anyway, so it's fine. I can live with that. So I've had a bit of an ebb and flow in my basketball career. Started off strong, kind of dipped, came back strong, definitely dipped. And now it's over. I weep for the days. But I've been thinking about that idea of ebb and flows, the going in and the going out, and how you handle the different ebbs and flows. So I had one game in high school, and remember, let's call that a dip, okay? My high school years. I had one game in high school. We were, at the time, 8-8, I think. And our basketball team at Stony Brook had not had a winning season in 32 years. That's a lot of years. Take your life, double it, okay? And we hadn't won in at least that long, okay? Hadn't had a winning record in those years. 32 years without a winning record. And we were very close to having a winning record. There was a new coach. It was his first year coaching, and I was on his first year team as a senior. I had worked really hard, and I was starting at center. And we were okay, we'd have good games and bad games, but my basic job, as I said before, was catch the ball, rebound, kick it out to our shooters. He liked the three-point shooters. We had 3 of them on the outside. They were good. My job, get ball, kick it outside, get ball, kick it outside. I was told, very specifically, to never shoot the basketball. There was no circumstance where I was allowed to shoot the basketball. That was bad. My shooting the basketball resulted in me being on the bench. Okay? That's all there was to it. Catch, rebound, kick it out. Catch, rebound, kick it out. I had it memorized. I had it down. No problem. Okay? And that's what I did. I wasn't good, but I hustled, got rebounds, kicked them out, shooters shot. We were pretty decent. So we're on the edge of this great winning season. Now, we played a team called Mattituck High School. Now, Mattituck High School was the best team in our league. We were playing them at home. Earlier in the season, they had beaten us by 37 points at their place. Now, it was the first game out of Christmas break. It was actually during Christmas break. And so boarding schools have a little problem with this, is because when you play a game during Christmas break, your boarders aren't there anymore. So we played with 7 guys during Christmas break. And I wasn't even a local kid. I was a boarder, but I lived close enough to Mattituck High School. I drove there and met the team. We're getting killed at halftime. We're down 30 at halftime. Our coach looks at us and he says, "I told you guys to run over the break. How many of you guys did your running?" Now, for those of you who are athletes, let me tell you something. When you're in a halftime talk and the coach says something along those lines, you don't answer. It's a rhetorical question. Okay? They don't want to know that you did your running. I made that mistake. "Coach, I ran." I had done a little bit of running. I was not lying. And the coach looked at me and said, "All you've done is run from your couch to the fridge. Shut up." Not 100% inaccurate. So we're in the game later in the season. We're down, we're actually up in the third quarter. And this weird thing happened to me because it had not happened to me since CYO basketball. In fact, it really never even happened during CYO basketball. I got hot. Now, those of you who've played sports, you've had some moment probably in your life where you have gotten hot in a sport. I got hot. It's the only time in my high school career that I got hot. I took a shot. And it went in. So my coach didn't bench me. I thought for sure I was going to the bench even with it going in. So I got a little cocky. I block a shot down the other end. We come down. I take a layup. I make it. Suddenly we go through the third quarter and I've got 15 points in the quarter. And we're up by 10. We're about to beat the best team in the league. It's now the fourth quarter. Things are going great. Guy goes up for a shot. I'm thinking, I can do no wrong at this point. I go up to try to block it. I foul him. I totally foul him. It's not one of those ones where I kind of come out of it and go, what? What do you mean I didn't foul him? I didn't touch him. It was clean, blah, blah. No, I fouled him. Whacked him right across the head. All right? Turned out to be my fifth foul, which in high school means my game is over. Now, this is very upsetting to me because, again, I've never been hot in my life. And so I now can no longer play. And I'm convinced that now that I'm not playing, the team can't possibly win because I'm the hot hand. So I walk over to the bench, and I'm so angry and I'm so frustrated, I proceed to take my fist and punch it into a cinder block wall behind the bench. It hurt. Worse than that was my coach seeing me do it. Because he turned around and tore me up, down. I think the game went on for 3 minutes. Back, forth, back, forth. He didn't see any of it. He was yelling at me. Okay? Over and over again. I was a senior. What was I doing? How was I acting? You're an idiot. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I got called everything under the sun. There was a lot of language being used for a Christian school. Okay? It was not good at all. I didn't handle the situation well. Okay? It was a bad situation. It was a bummer. I let my anger get the best of me. And I'm thinking about that idea now of ebb and flows. I'm thinking about how I handled that situation. I did not handle that situation well. This is going to be a long year. We're in week 1. Some of you were tired already. Some of you were behind already. I'm sorry for you. Okay? But it's okay. Okay? The year is going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have good weeks. You're going to have bad weeks. And it's going to kind of go up and down a little bit. But it kind of depends on how you handle the down points. What do you do when the down crashes on you? That's what's going to decide what makes the year for you. It's not going to be how you handle the good points. You handle the good points well. We know that. You're happy. Life's good. Okay? Not a problem. You're winning. You're successful. Your grades are good. Whatever the case, whatever you judge as being a good day, when you're having a good day, you handle it well. It's handling the bad days that kind of mark how the thing goes for you. How the year's going to go, how the week's going to go, how the month's going to go, whatever. In Scripture, there's a number of places where it says this, but the one I always remember is in Romans. And in Romans it says this. It says, take joy in your suffering. It's the first part of the line. Take joy in your suffering. It's an interesting concept. Because we don't do that, do we? Okay? We don't like our suffering. Suffering sucks. Okay? We don't like suffering. It says to take joy in your suffering. Because suffering is going to produce perseverance. Perseverance is going to produce character. And character is going to produce hope. And hope makes all the difference. Let's break that down a little bit. Suffering is going to produce perseverance. You have to persevere. And you're going to do it even if you don't want to a lot of times. How many of you had those kind of days? Okay? It doesn't matter you're suffering. It doesn't matter you don't want to persevere. You're going to persevere anyway because you just have to. And that's good. And that perseverance, that's where character comes from. That's where the character comes from. And then that character is going to produce hope. Hope is a good thing. Hope is going to give you that thing that drives you forward. Now it's interesting, though, that hope doesn't come first. Hope's the end result. It is the theological version of Dr. Campbell's wishing won't do it. The perseverance comes first. Then you get the hope. Then the hope drives the rest of it again. It's like a cycle. It's kind of an interesting way to think about it. We're talking a lot to you about community. We've been bashing you over the head with the idea of community, haven't we? Okay? That's what we do. We talk about community. We're talking about community. Let's talk a little bit about your individual, though. Because sometimes we forget that, and sometimes we ignore that. If you think about that, when you're suffering, you take joy in it. You persevere. It produces character, and it produces hope. If that happens for each and every one of you when you suffer, community takes care of itself. You get that? That happens for each and every one of you. Community will take care of itself. Because that hope that sprung from that initial joy, that hope that springs from that initial joy, that's going to make community. Because if I've got 207 students, and I've got 30 or 40 something faculty, any more staff beyond that, if I've got everybody taking joy in their suffering, persevering, producing character, producing hope, community is great. We don't even have to think about community. Because it's going to be such a great community, it'll just take care of itself. So I encourage you today, this week, this year, when that point comes, and it's going to come, you're going to be frustrated with somebody. And you'll want to lash out in anger, like I did, anger. Okay? You're going to be up against it in homework, and you're going to want to plagiarize or rip something off the internet because it's the easy thing to do. Persevere. Build your character. Build up your hope. And in that hope, we become a really strong Lumiere. Thank you.